Welcome to today's 5-minute Bible study in the Gospel of John. We're in John chapter 5. Today we're going to begin reading at verse 6. Now remember from yesterday's session, Jesus is in Jerusalem again. He's come for the festival of the tabernacles. And while there, he goes to this pool of Bethesda where a lot of disabled people have gathered, on the belief that when the water in the pool is stirred, whoever can be first in will be healed. Jesus begins to talk to this man who's paralyzed, and he's been so for 38 years. Jesus asked him a very interesting question. Verse 6. When Jesus saw the man lying there and learned that he had been in this condition for a very long time, Jesus asked him, "Do you want to get well?" That's an interesting question, is it not? Do you want to get well? Well, of course the man wanted to be well. That's why he's there. And yet, sometimes people become accustomed to their hindrances in life, or their disabilities, or their diseases. And maybe after 4 decades, he had become so accustomed to his disease in his body that he really didn't want to get well. He did, but are you willing to look to the one place where your healing can come from? You've put all your hope on the pool being stirred and somehow getting in first. I'm here to tell you that is not the source of your healing. Are you willing to look to the one who can really heal you? You see, Jesus comes to all of us and asks, do we want to have healing in our soul, our spirit, and our whole? Do we want to be whole again? And are we willing to look to the only one who can truly heal us? This man was looking to luck. Could I get in the pool first when the water stirred? Jesus says, do you want to get well enough to look to the real source of healing? That's to me. Do you want to get well? Sir, the invalid replied, I have no one to help me get into the pool when this water is stirred. And when I'm trying to get in, someone else always gets in ahead of me. So Jesus says, get up, pick up your mat, and walk. And at once the man was healed. He picked up his mat and he walked. So Jesus has got the man's attention, and then he gives him an interesting command. Get up, pick up that mat, and walk. Now this man had been paralyzed for 38 years. What Jesus is asking is impossible. Get up? How can I get up? I just told you, I'm waiting for the water to be stirred. I need someone to help me get in. I can't get up myself. And yet Jesus says, do it. Look to me and do what I say. That's what I mean by look to the real source of your healing. Look to Jesus. And notice the man does what Jesus says. He gets up. Something he hadn't done in 38 years. He picks up his mat. He walks. It's been 4 decades since he did these kind of things. But he does it. This is very similar, I think, to the miracle we saw in the previous chapter with the man who came wanting his son to be healed. Remember, he said, Jesus, come with me to my home. And Jesus said, I don't need to go with you. Just go. Your son will live. And the man took Jesus at his word, and his son was healed. This invalid takes Jesus at his word. Get up, pick up your mat, walk. I can't do that. But he took Jesus at his word, and he did. He got up, he picked up his mat, and he walked. In other words, he had faith. He had faith. He really looked to Jesus and believed. Do you want to get well? Then look to me. Believe what I say. Act on what I say. Jesus is always asking us, do you really want to be well in your life? Look at me. Believe in me. Obey me. And you will find that I am the source of your wholeness. I am the source of your healing. And a wondrous miracle occurs because this invalid who'd been laying on his mat, paralyzed, had not been able to walk for 38 years, heard the word of Jesus, believed Jesus, and responded to Jesus. All that is faith. And through that faith, he is healed. And he's walking. He's walking. This is the third miracle that John tells us about, the third sign. Remember I told you that they all grow? Each one is greater than the one before. It demonstrates more of who Jesus is. First water to wine, then the healing of a boy with fever, and now a man been paralyzed for 38 years gets up and walks, all at the word of Jesus. All these miracles are based on the word of Jesus. He told the servants, take the water to the guest, and it was wine. He told the royal official, go home, your son's well, and he was well. And he tells this man, get up and walk, and he did. He was healed. You see, when Jesus speaks, he speaks words of healing. If we'll look to him, hear, and believe, we will know his power to make us whole. Wow. These signs all point us to the fact that Jesus is the Son of God who brings wholeness into our life. Now, there's one more thing to say about this miracle. We'll look at that in tomorrow's session. So join us next time for our 5-minute Bible study in the Gospel of John.